Speech off.
First, I need to deliver greetings from Mark Riccobona.
Homepage national.
President Riccobona wished he could be here this weekend, but with 52 affiliates, as you can imagine, if we all picked a separate week of the year, Mark would be gone all the time. That's all he would do, is go to conventions, which probably he would really love to do, but it would be hard to take care of the other business he's tasked with. Also, we tend to cluster our conventions on the weekends, and that makes it even more difficult. But Mark has briefed me about coming here, and really wanted me to convey to all of you how much he appreciates the love and harmony that he feels from the Idaho affiliate, and that he said to me, "You're gonna really come home with some ideas for Kansas." And he's so right. It's great to go to another state with wide open spaces. Now yours are a little crowded with mountains, but low population states with geographic challenge and learn, so it's great to be able to come here and learn about how you guys are doing things, and I really appreciate all of the warmth and hospitality that you have extended to me. So I'm president of the Kansas affiliate. I'm on my, 12th year, which is a little long, and I'm working on succession on that. That is one of our most important jobs in any role in the Federation, is to figure out who's next, so it doesn't just go hanging if you can't do it. I travel the country as a musician, singer-songwriter. I play in a band called Haymakers. If anybody's interested, it's haymakersstringband.com. Shameless self-promotion. And if you have a streaming program, you could type in Haymakers and 100, and that'll get you to the band. Turns out it was not the most creative name, so there's some other Haymakers out there. They're not me. But if you type in Haymakers 100, that'll take you to our last album. It's called 100 Years of Hank. So check that out when you have a chance. Okay. So one of the big questions that comes to me as a leader in the National Federation of the Blind, and I think is an important one for us to consider as we move through our lives and as we do our various activities of advocacy, and that is why. Why do we need the National Federation of the Blind? Some of us are articulate. Some of us have lots of connections. Some of us have money to use. Whatever it would be, you could say, like, I don't need that, And what I find is I'll go through stretches where I'm not being presented with the answer in very brutal or in-your-face ways. And then, all of a sudden, when I'm not expecting it, I'll get that in-your-face wake-up call on why the National Federation of the Blind. And so at the beginning in 1940, when the 7 states associations came together to form National Federation of the Blind, the major thinking was that we needed a unified national voice, that if we were going to do things in Congress or with courts or such and such, we needed to come with a unified voice so that we could speak with strength. I think that is still absolutely the core answer to why. But I want to share just a little story that illustrates why that came to me just a month or two ago in Wichita, Kansas, where I'm from. I serve on our local Wichita-Sedgwick County Access Advisory Board, and it takes some fortitude, let me tell you. Because basically the board was born out of a lawsuit, which was 2004. So in 2004, the city built a new transit center and neglected to put curb cuts in. And Independent Living Resource Center in town and a group of other people filed a suit and staged a protest at the new transit center. A couple hundred people in wheelchairs and a few people with long white canes shut that thing down. And a lot of press came, and the city decided they should install some curb cuts, maybe some automated doors. We've never gotten them to consider Braille. We've never really gotten them to fix their automated announcement system, which tells you the wrong bus stops. Yeah, that's fun, especially if you're not from around there or you're in the wrong neighborhood, or a neighborhood you're not familiar with. Anyhow, like I say, the city has done this thing because they were forced to, but they don't really have a lot of, we go to these meetings and basically it's the same old show. But a recent event has involved redoing of streets in our downtown. And in 2023, new rules regarding pedestrian access were issued. It's called PROAG, that's Pedestrian Right-of-Way Access Guidelines. If anybody is the sort of person that's interested in that, I strongly suggest you look it up because it has a lot of stuff that impacts blind people. One of our own members, Dr. Sachin Pavitran, has been the head of the U.S. Access Board for some time, and it's the U.S. Access Board that's responsible for putting out these rules. There's a bunch of detail in it that I won't totally go into, but part of it is that they're supposed to redo the curb cuts if they're broken and so on. Also now, although this is controversial amongst blind people, the new law says that when things are being redone, APS, audible pedestrian signal, or accessible pedestrian signal, depending on how you like to say it, has to be installed. These are very popular with some people. Again though, regardless of your stance on that issue, it is now the law. So the city went through and did this thing and did not do any of the access improvements they were supposed to do. Sidewalks, curb cuts, etc., just not a thing. So we've been in a bit of a back and forth on this board. Traffic engineers came to our local chapter meeting twice to talk to us about different projects they were doing, including this one, and get our opinions on various things. And what I find to be most funny is that on the whole, our group said, well, these signals, I don't know, but everybody wanted one in their neighborhood, just across the board. And so that was sort of funny, and the guy was like, well, what if I put one, just in this one spot? It's like, well, what about, So it's a big sprawl in Wichita. We don't have to build up, we build out. And so, everybody wanted one. That's the thing. So they come to the meeting twice. They have heard that, yes, regardless of whatever personal desires we might have, everyone agreed, and in fact, we voted in front of the traffic engineers that we believe they should follow all applicable codes and laws, and that seems to simplify the whole situation. Further, there are 4 blind people that sit on this access board. Now, we're all Federation members. I don't know that the city people have quite figured that out yet. They seem surprised that we already act in concert. And like I said, they haven't quite figured that out. But so after coming to our meeting twice, both meetings with over 20 people, and then listening repetitively to the 4 people on the board, we were sent a little clip of the traffic engineer going and taking about 5 minutes of sleep shade instruction from O&M instructor who works for a local workshop. So at the end of this 5 minutes, he has crossed a street and he's high-fiving and hugging the instructor and saying, this is the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. I don't know how this can possibly be done. The instructor informs him that most blind people don't free range. So they don't really need any of this stuff they're talking about. Yeah, and then at the end of the video, the guy says, I'm so pleased that I've been able to learn these things from the true expert. Yeah, so
You need to fire that guy.
apparently all these, whatever, I'll just round in, 35 blind people that have told him what we think. The true expert is the sighted guy that works for the workshop. So, in a nutshell, I continue to be provided with examples of why we need the National Federation of the Blind, right? Because we are blind people speaking for ourselves, and we are the true experts on blindness. Okay, so I'm going to try to break down the national report into 3 major areas. There is so much happening that it's probably unlikely I'm going to be able to cover everything, but I try to take as many notes as possible My friend Nicole can tell you that I do worry about this speech, and I do try to do a good job, because in this situation, I'm speaking for President Rick Obama. Speaking for myself is easy, but a little harder to speak for Mark. So the three big areas are education, legislation, and education. And all of these involve advocacy. If you want to put in the word advocacy, that'd be just fine. And I'm going to move something from the bottom of the list up to the top here, which is a really exciting project that's going on in our education area, is the developing Museum of the Blind Persons Movement. Some of you may remember our Colonel books. They were great, yes, and they did a great job of educating the public, and we got a lot of those out. I wish I had the exact number, but over the years, a lot of Colonel books were distributed. The fact is that the medium of having little books in doctors' offices and laundromats and things like that, waiting rooms of various kinds, has kind of moved on in society. People don't really read the magazines at the doctor's office, they look at their phones. That has led to us looking at other ways, how else can we make a major educational impact? And so a big idea is to create this Museum of the Blind People's Movement. Work is underway on it, and their plans are being developed. This is also an opportunity to give, because this thing is going to cost a lot of money, people. But if we don't think big and do big, time will pass us by. I think this is an admirable project, and I think that it can serve us well into the, long into the future. If anybody is interested in this, Ramona Law has Braille materials. She does not have any print materials today, but you can go to our website, type in museum, you're going to find out all about it. I use the search on the website all the time. It's hard for me to remember the exact URLs, but the search does it for me, so I don't have to remember those things.
It's called Blind Unbound.
Well, that's the next phase.
Yeah.
So the museum project is pretty wide, and even wider than that is the Blind Unbound project. And how this dovetails is that Blind Unbound is seeking stories, art, dance, anything that would be an artistic or say literary representation of stories of actual blind people. And that project, Blind Unbound, will provide material for the museum to build on, and may also, as a performance art space, have much greater potential for in-person life, real life activities within the museum context. So Ramona has the Blind Unbound Braille, which, sorry, you don't have the museum Braille, but you do have the Blind Unbound Braille. You can also contact Patty Chang at the national office if you wish to donate. But as Ramona was just relaying to me, Patty is one person, and though she's highly energetic, probably she shouldn't be covering the entire nation by herself. She needs help, and Ramona is here to help. So anybody who is interested in contributing to the formation of the Blind Unbound project, which again dovetails with the museum project as a conduit of information and a conduit of materials, please speak to Ramona when you have a chance. Okay, we'll talk a little more on that later. Okay, under our education heading, we have a bunch of publications and a bunch of ways that we try to put out positive information on blindness and do our best to tell the real stories of blind people and dispel whatever mythology might be out there as we can. Our flagship publication, Braille Monitor. I suppose most of you are familiar with the Braille Monitor. There's somebody? Anybody? Okay, good. Good. I really enjoy it. It is wide-ranging, I would say. In addition to everything a federation which you're gonna find Federation in there every month. As we are complex humans living in a complex world, so that is reflected in the Braille Monitor. Just this last month's issue, article that I very much enjoyed was about caregiving as a blind person for aging family and friends. And I find myself in that spot. I'm at the end of life with a dear friend who I've been a caregiver to, and also my mother is an elderly person who needs caregiving. With her, I've got siblings to help, so that makes it a lot easier. But also, there, as the article explained, having a clear division of labor and understanding what's going on, it's going to make all this easier. And a little bit of discussion of, how would blindness perhaps interact with that. So, like I say, very wide-ranging. There's all kinds of stuff that you can find in the Braille Monitor. So please do pay attention monthly, and you can get it in every form you can imagine. It can still come to you in hard Braille, but you can get it online. You can get it in the form of a podcast type file, an MP3, so on. That leads me to one of our more modern ways of doing education, which is podcasts. We've got some really exciting podcasts out there right now. We have Voice of the Nation's Blind podcast. We have the most popular one right now, Access On, very popular podcast. And it focuses on all kinds of technological stuff, but also is fairly wide-ranging. Let's see here. We also have Walking Alone and Marching Together, the history of the blind person's movement. I don't know if any of you guys have taken in that book over time. Certainly enjoyed it myself, but I'm taking it again in the podcast. And it's great. And I'd forgotten how wonderful the voice is on that, and the reader. And I don't know exactly who read it, but I'd like to know, because the voice is just great. I could listen to this person read the phone book. Okay, we have WebRN. NFB-RN. That is the NFB radio network. And so if you tune into internet radio, on the list of potential internet radio stations now is NFB-RN. And that has right now been populated with all kinds of content that we've been curating over the years of banquet speeches and various things. And so it's 24 hours a day. You just want to hear a little something, get a little inspiration, tune in. The website has so much information. It is, it's almost overwhelming. That's again why I use the search part of it. But if you have questions, if you're looking for answers to just about anything, consult the website. And we had a little talk yesterday about an old story of the blind mechanic. And can a guy be a blind mechanic? Well, sure they can. And so I think this is a really great way to use the website. If you're, when in doubt, type in some keywords. I would say blind is not the best keyword to use, as it appears often on our website and in almost every article. But mechanic, for example, might bring up that actual article, and you could say, well, you know what? Maybe I should not be so concerned about this, or maybe I should put my anxieties aside and go to the school, learn how to do these things. Consult my notes here. Oh, and I moved the museum to the top, so. Okay, let's move on to legislation. Okay, right now, we are working to urge Congress to protect programs that are very important to blind people, as we're in a phase of a lot of cutting and a lot of redistribution of federal programs. We are particularly concerned with programs that are dedicated to employment and education and independence. And we're urging Congress to strengthen key 5 areas. IDEA, this is the legislation that allows IEPs in the school and prescribes how things should work. Obviously highly important for students. Randolph-Shepard program, that's the legislation that since 1936 has provided for vending to be done by blind people and having a priority for certain facilities, federal facilities, state facilities, county facilities, military, and etc. And I apologize, I'm holding the microphone and reading one-handed here, and I'm moving a little slow. Okay, older blind independent living program. I think it speaks for itself. We do not want cuts to the older blind independent living program. That is so important to helping keep seniors in their homes. And let's see here. Okay, bear with me, folks. Dominic was doing a little better job with his notes yesterday.
The problem with this braille reading.
American Printing House programs, which of course mostly provide books for kids.
Yes.
I mean, the number one thing it does is provide books for kids. So, obviously we do not want that to be messed with. We also do not want to lose the various programs that are under Department of Ed. Randolph-Shepard's one of them, but also all of the funding for vocational rehabilitation flows through that organization or that department. And as many of you know, it's pretty hard to acquire training and skills in an organized way without having that vocational rehabilitation on your side. Okay, we have several bills that we're working on right now. First, I'm going to name the Access Technology Affordability Act. That would provide a $2,000 tax credit over 3 years for access technology that you would buy personally. So anybody here with a note taker? I think I'm hearing them right now. And I love hearing it. And those of you who have them and those of you who don't probably know, they're not cheap. Braille displays, they're expensive. We have had some progress in that area, but the fact remains that we're a small group and the technology is constantly changing. And so to that extent, we have not seen some of the price reduction that, say, other general technologies experience. This bill, if enacted, an independent group, I believe Mathematica is the name of it, has projected would save the federal government $315 million over 5 years. So this one, let me say, this is pretty easy to sell. I don't know, I was not able to get the exact list of what Congress people have signed on to what bills at this time. So Shane, if you happen to know, do you know if the Idaho delegation has signed on to ATAA? They have not. Aha. So this is a chance to do something. This is the best thing, right? That it's like, not only do we get to come here and commune with each other, but we get to do things to try to improve the world. And so that's a chance to do something. Okay, the next one is the Blind Americans Return to Work Act. Now, that you think, well, I'm already working, what do you mean return to work? Or sometimes these titles, the acronyms are cute, but they may not completely describe things. I'm reading a word here that I've obviously misspelled. Yes, I see. So this bill proposes to eliminate what we call the earnings cliff of SSI, SSDI, I guess really SSDI at this moment. Which is a disincentive for many blind people to seek full-time employment or even in some cases part-time employment. Right now, if you're an SSDI recipient, if you exceed what is called the SGA, it's around $29,000 right now, you lose all your benefits. $1 over, you lose everything. It is a disincentive in the sense that why do that, if you don't have a job opportunity that's gonna make double that, that kind of, the math isn't there. But also, most SSDI recipients also receive Medicare. And so not only are you losing the benefits, the dollar benefits, but you're losing your health insurance simultaneously. So you have to have a job that would pay enough to offset that, plus have the right insurance package to go with it. Those things put together present this, or create this disincentive to enter the workplace. We really need to do this. The Social Security Administration is in agreement with our proposal, which is to change the SSDI model to match the SSI model that has already been proven effective, and that is to reduce the amount of benefits by $1 for every dollar earned until you no longer are receiving benefits. So rather than the cliff, we're asking that a ramp be created. So a ramp to work, and I like that idea, and I think we're having a lot of traction on this. Both of these top two, I think we're very close to getting enough approvals. If we get to 218 Congress people signed on or 51 senators, it's a go. And we're really hoping that we could get that done during this session, and I think there's a real chance. Shane, do you know if any in the Idaho delegation have signed on to this one?
They have not, but we did get some very positive feedback from one of our senators, but they have not yet signed on.
Okay, excellent. Which senator?
Senator Crapo's office. Senator Crapo.
Crapo. So Senator Crapo has given some very positive feedback, but is not signed on. But this, again, I think this is a pretty easy sell. It really makes sense. We want to work. We want to contribute as members of society. And I think that, when we come in person to Washington and say these things and present well and present not only problems, but good solutions, that makes the difference, and that is partly why we've been successful over time. Another bill we have here is the national bill that would designate our museum project as the National Museum of the Blind People's Movement. Now you think, well, what's the difference, museum or national museum? And really, it gives us a certain level of prestige, and also could lead to a designation as a national monument. And so that is something that I think we are going to have success in, and that we hope will happen in the soon time, as this will boost our museum project and again give us sort of an extra layer of credibility and prestige. Okay, I'm reaching one of my break points here. So I want to, often, and this is a long report, it's a lot of talk, folks. So are there any questions regarding our legislative activities? And I guess I should ask, do we have Angie Bradley as a mic runner this morning?
Yeah, I'm here.
You're here, okay. I don't know where the other microphone is. Man, that goes fast. All right, my alarm's already telling me to speak faster and do things more. Okay, get on it. So, Angie, I tell you what, I don't hear a giant clamor on legislation.
We will be talking about it later this afternoon
Great.
as well.
So let's move right along here to one of my favorite elements of the work we do. Although I put these in this order on purpose because I think it's fair to say that our core mission is education and empowerment of each other, right? So educating the world, educating amongst ourselves, and empowering amongst ourselves. Sometimes our education efforts aren't enough. And the next thing we move to when we have systemic problems that can be solved through legislation is legislation, as you were just hearing about. Some of these problems really can be dealt with, and there's no reason they shouldn't be. So, especially with matters that involve the government, such as Social Security. At the state level, there are model bills out there for parents' rights. I don't know if you guys got a parents' rights law here in.
Yes, we do.
I thought you did. That's great. That's excellent work, Idaho. Thank you. Kansas is one of the states that has that done also. And one of the things I'm most proud of, being a part of making happen. Do you guys have a ban on sub-minimum wage? Okay. We are working on that at the federal level, but there is model text available to have state laws created on that. And right now, I'm spacing on the number, but we're very close to what would be a tipping point. Typically, when you have 27 or 28 states that decide to do something, that really influences the feds to say, look, maybe we ought to get with this and get rid of any ambiguity that's there. So, legislative efforts are great, and they do result in solutions to a lot of problems. Sometimes that is yet not enough, and we have to move into a phase or the area of litigation, which is to either help people comply with laws that are already on the books and to educate them through the legal process on what their obligations are under those laws. Sometimes it has to do with, in essence, common sense. That the law that applies to everyone in the land should also apply to us equally. So, a couple recent wins in the litigation field. Your neighbors just over in Oregon have recently won a suit or settled with Oregon State University. Oregon State recognizes that they need to dedicate efforts to making their college programs accessible. And of course, that is a lot of website and other stuff like that. But this has been going on for some years. These legal cases are costly and lengthy. And unfortunately, that's just the nature of the system. We have a coordinated effort on legal matters, and we try to coordinate that nationally. This is yet another answer to the question, why the National Federation of the Blind? And so if you think you have been wronged, it is way better for you to consult with Dana Hard, with Shane Ostermeyer, with leadership in the state, and depending on what they tell you, perhaps placing a call to somebody in our national office to ask them about this. It may be the case that although you feel wrong, there's nothing that can be done immediately. It may be the case that although this is a legitimate thing, it is not a priority. And the fact is, our resources say we have to prioritize these things and do things in a coordinated way so that we're not creating problems as we go. It has come up often in Kansas that although we probably have what you would consider an open and shut case, no one knows what will happen when you get in front of a judge or a jury in some cases. And if you draw what I'd call a bumpkin judge or an ill-informed jury, things could actually get worse, not better, by creating case law that goes against us. So that's just one area of coordination, is where is it best to file a suit? And sometimes, you have to wait around and hear that somebody in California or Massachusetts or someplace has done the thing, and you can then clap and cheer and say, yay, I am gonna take a copy of this ruling, I'm gonna take it right over to this office and tell them, see, I was right. Anyhow, another win, and to illustrate the point I was just trying to make, Los Angeles Community College District is a huge, huge community college system that serves Los Angeles, California. If you've ever been to Los Angeles, you recognize it is large. It is a big old sprawl, even within city and county of LA. And then you get into the burbs and so on, just wow. We have won on behalf, on behalf of a group of young students in LA. Heck, I'm trying to think how many years now. It's been 4 years, I think, since we won the thing. But first, they had gone through a lot of appeals, so the whole case stretched on for almost 10 years before that. We finally get the win, and then LACCD started a lot of proceedings to try to wiggle out of paying for legal fees and paying the damages that were assessed. And, I believe California is the only state in the union that allows for damages in disability discrimination cases. And so there is some money on the line here for the actual young people that were involved in the case also. And so anyway, big win there, which is the jury awards, which is that's the money again for legal fees and so on, have been upheld. So eventually, when we figure out how to collect this, we will get repaid for our attorney's fees. But to put this into context again, we're talking millions of dollars out on the line, and it's been over 10 years. And to get that money back is very difficult. So again, I want to stress, don't hire a lawyer immediately. Don't call some number on TV. Consult with leadership in Idaho. Make a call to the National Center, to the legal line there. Sanho Steele Luche is our current person you'll talk to, and you can get a consultation, but just don't go off doing it on yourselves, please. Okay, another case that has been filed that is in progress is one dear to my heart. Harris County, Texas, with NFB of Texas and our national organization. We are suing Harris County over early mail voting. And the crux of the matter there is that print ballots are allowed for early mail voting in Harris County. All kinds of people, for just about any reason, can go ahead and do early voting on a print ballot. Even astronauts, which those of you know Harris County, that's Houston. So astronauts are allowed to vote early because they might be in space during the thing, but blind people are not allowed to have an accessible means to vote in Harris County. This same system exists in Kansas. Paper ballots are available, but there is a great reluctance to allow electronic delivery and return. I don't understand why, but that is the case. We'll see how this goes in Harris County. I think I'm getting close here, Shane. Okay, how much more have I got here? A few more minutes. Okay, great. So another one I'll mention quickly is as you've heard, their Randolph Shepherd program is under attack. The Secretary of the Army, in conjunction with Department of Education, has issued a waiver to allow the Army bases to be contracted out to people who are not blind vendors. These are really good jobs for blind people, and it's just a crying shame they're trying to undermine this thing. That one is hot right now. One more that's really hot right now is Texas versus Kennedy. Idaho, not one of the 9 states that is on this, so you can be pretty proud of that. Kansas, sadly, is one of the 9 states that's on this thing. And if this lawsuit was to come to fruition against us, what we're looking at is a rollback of the Rehabilitation Act, 504, and Olmstead, which is a different settlement which allows for community-based services. So it could well be that in a place such as Kansas, there would be one, if any, it could even be a regional place where all blind people would have to go to receive any services. But the 504 part is the underpinning of ADA. And so the attack on 504 and ADA is just pretty outrageous and really is going to potentially cause a lot of problems. We hope that our intervention is going to prevent this. One other area that's in the news right now is there has been a delay of a year on Title II of the ADA. This is the part that covers city and local governments and web access rules. We have been working on this for a long time. And I remember vividly that during the Obama administration, we got these Title II rules onto the president's desk. We were just awaiting a signature. 2 years went by, it didn't get signed. Next administration took no action. The next administration did finally take action in 24, and now they're kicking the can down the road to 27. So yeah, you can look up online. We've had some very good press on this on NPR, and get President Rick Bono's response to this delay on implementing these rules. So I'm going to wrap up with the most fun part of all. And TJ, I'm so sorry I didn't coordinate more. Are you able to play that clip today?
I should. Give me just 1 second.
Okay, this is the how to donate. So the thing is, folks, all this stuff, the education mission, our legislative advocacy efforts, our legal advocacy efforts, all the things we're doing at the Center for Excellence, which is an entire section of my notes that I didn't get to, but that involves a lot of stuff, including summer internships, including dealing with home technology and helping companies understand how to test their websites and how to make accessible products and roll them out. All this stuff takes, guess what? It does. It really does. Time and money cure almost all problems, as a wise man once told me, and I believe that that is true. But money is definitely got to be in the mix, and so there are many ways to give. I understand that you guys already give as an affiliate to the PAC plan. Is that correct? That's what I thought, and I think most of your chapters do. That is fantastic. And I can tell you, you guys are number 10 on the list of states in PAC plan. Now, put that into perspective. If we were to rank states by population, you're way down the list comparatively. You're number 10 in PAC land. This is fantastic. Yeah. And I think it's something like $1,047 a month. I may be off a notch, but it's something like that. That's a lot of money. However, let me say, Ohio is just ahead of you guys with like $1,058. I mean, it's not much. You could overcome Ohio at this convention with just a few people who sign on at the minimum $5 a month. And anybody who wanted to increase their pledge, that would help too. The next state up, Louisiana. Louisiana is in your sights, people. You can pick off Louisiana easy. A couple $100, you're at number 8.
Take them down.
Yeah, I'm saying, so at this very convention, $10, $20 new pledges and a couple increases, and you guys rise to 8. So I find that to be pretty fun. We're working on Kansas, but I won't say our number. Anyhow, that is a great way to give, and it's a way that we can give individually, and that it goes into funds that can be used immediately for various projects. There are other ways to give. TJ, how are you on that?
Ready when you are, I hope.
Go for it. This is a little more fun way of doing this.
Okay,
But I can speak it out so we get done on time here or close anyway.
Hold on.
Oh, I hear a little boom there.
Greetings, Federation family. You've already heard about the transformative collective action that we're taking to raise expectations for the blind throughout society. But to do this work together, we need resources to accomplish all that we dream to do in the future. We'd like you to consider how you can help to contribute or to promote contributions to the Federation in 3 key fundraising areas for our organization. Here they are.
We heard about this one just a second ago.
The PAC plan is our pre-authorized contribution plan. This is a way for anyone to make contributions to our organization on an ongoing basis. And that ongoing basis enables us to be able to budget for the money that's coming up. Anyone who wants to contribute to the plan for the first time or who wants to up their contribution, just share with us some financial information. It can either be a debit card or a bank account and routing number, and we will make sure that your generous donation is processed each month. There are 2 ways that you can do this. One, you can go to nfb.org/PAC, that's PAC. You can also give us a call at 1-877-NFB, the number 2 PAC, that's 1-877-632-2722. Leave a message that does not contain financial information, but that contains your contact info, and one of our folks will call you back.
Do you know that the National Federation of the Blind accepts vehicles? You and your friends and family can simply call 855-659-9314 or visit nfb.org/give.
Do you want to leave a legacy for the next generation? Join the National Federation of the Blind Legacy Society, the Dream Makers Circle. Joining is easy. You can give a portion of a bank or investment account by simply filling out a payable on death form at your bank and indicating the NFB should receive a percentage or a fixed amount upon your passing. Consider designating the NFB as a partial beneficiary of your life insurance, retirement, or in a trust or will. For more information, call Patty Chang at extension 2422 or email pchang, PCHANG@nfb.org.
When you support the National Federation of the Blind, you help with advocacy, early childhood initiatives, free white cane distribution, legislation, our legal efforts, Bell, STEM programs, membership building, leadership training, scholarships, student seminars, PSAs, web development, the Independence Market, Newsline, development of new technologies, our student professions and non-visual access, teacher training programs, independence, employment readiness, creators, voting rights, awareness, citizens and members of the and so much more.
And so much more.
Thank you for your support of the organized blind movement. Let's go build the National Federation of the Blind.
I feel like I need to do the very same thing when talking on these national reports. There's so much, there really is so much going on. It cannot be encapsulated by someone that speaks as slowly as I do into this time period. But free white canes, free white stylus, slates and styluses, right? Books for kids, the list goes on, people. So, tell you what, thank you all for your time today. Let's go build the National Federation of the Blind.